Yes, sir. X4L live. We are going live.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are live. And today we are in this corner, the Boxing Podcast, brought to you live by your boy Isaac Coles, a.k.a. Coach Shallow, and my co-host,
Isaiah from the Coles.
Yes, sir. So on this podcast, in this corner, we will be discussing all things boxing. We have a great show lined up for you guys. The way the show's going to go, for the most part, we're going to give you guys an intro. I'm sure you guys need to know a little bit more about us and who we are. We're going to do some fight recaps today. You know, a lot of what we're into is, dissecting and analyzing fights. We love to talk boxing. We love to talk the theory and the process of boxing. We also will be doing fight predictions. So as we talk about the fights moving forward, if you have predictions that you want to chime in on, if you have any type of opinions, even if you just want to talk trash, it's all good. Come on in, hit my comments, X4L Entertainment, XRadio.live. You want to get on all of those Instagrams and go ahead and chime in and let us know how you feel. Not only will we be doing predictions, but we'll also do a question and answer period. We will be talking about local boxers. We're talking about from the Bay to LA to Sacramento. We have amateur boxers that we want to speak on, professional boxers, boxing coaches, boxing gyms. It's going to be a lot of information passed. So you guys buckle up tight and enjoy yourselves. First things first, man, to get things rolling, we just want to go ahead and get to an intro of ourselves. I'll let Puma start out. Puma is a amateur boxer from out of Sacramento. He's obviously my son. I'm his coach, so I'll give him a little time to give him some background, give you guys some background on himself.
Yeah, for the first part, I'm an amateur boxer. I'm 15-3 as of right now. Something that I've been working on with us is that father-son relationship as a coach and a fighter. We work really hard in the way we're doing it. We work day in and day out, and we get it done. We've sparring a lot of seasoned amateurs ourselves. We work with a professional fighter, Xavier Martinez, to help him get ready. He's also a strength and conditioning coach.
Shout out to X, that's my dog.
And we get to popping. One thing that I find important is that I'm 16, coming off a layoff for 1 year. But I'm here and I'm focused. I'm ready to go.
So give them a little bit more background on like when you started, how long you've been boxing for. We've been around this Sacramento city for a while, man, messing with this boxing game. And, I'd love to give them a little background a little bit on, where we've been, who we've worked with, and what you've done so far.
I started working out when I was about 6 years old. Just me and him. That's about the same time we both started. He was 28, I was 6. But we really got into boxing when I was about 8 years old. Starting off with that was really just really a confidence thing. When I was younger, because I've been more shy when I was younger, and that was a big part of it. Learn how to defend myself and things of that nature. But as we went on, we hit different gyms, learning about ourselves, learning for himself how to coach, and his growth as a person in that. We tended to veer off and going to other gyms and learning from them, and trying to and learn our own style and developing what we believe in.
And we call that shallow. We call that our shallow style. When Puma first started, I took him to a couple of coaches because me being myself, getting into my history a little bit more, I really taught myself boxing. I'm an obsessive person. I'm very compulsive about the things that I enjoy and that I like. So I spent a lot of time with a couple of friends working on boxing. I was getting myself in shape. I was being coached by a few different coaches at that time, getting introduced to a few fighters. That's about the time I met Otis Griffin. Shout out to my boy Otis Griffin. With that being said, we came to a space where it was like I started realizing that the training that we were giving my son was good enough and equivalent to the training that we were getting, from outside or from inside of our gym. I didn't necessarily know that the information that I was learning was as transferable as it was. So I found myself, being around people, talking boxing and having agreements, having disagreements, but more than anything, I found my fighters in the ring winning. When we were training, I'm starting to notice, that some of the guys were working as hard or not as hard, as smart or not as smart. The bottom line is we were competitive. So that developed into us just really having that mindset like, hey, we're going to bank on ourselves, we're going to believe in us, and we're going to continue to develop ourselves every day. And that led to us kind of going inside and working and then coming back outside and working. So that ended up with Puma, his first couple fights, we got stoppages. He was knocking the blood out of boys. It wasn't a problem. We worked with other fighters. I helped another fighter win a Golden Glove title at a regional level. We got a winning record when it comes to competition in boxing. Now, with that being said, not saying that we've gone, very far just yet, but we're dedicated, we're focused, and we're getting where we're getting, and we're helping other people do so. Me working with my son and our amateur career led to me doing a bunch of other things. Professional fighters, amateur fighters. I'm currently working with a few pros. I'm currently working with a few amateurs. Because like I said, the information and knowledge that we learned, that we shared, it's good for everybody, man. It's working. We're getting the job done. And the proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? So you can think what you want. You can say what you say. But shallow boxing is here to stay. And, we're getting it done in the way that we see fit. So with that being said, that's us. We're about 10 years deep in the game. And, we don't leave it at all for an instance. We love it. And you can expect us for the next 20 to 30 years to be a force in Sacramento as well as California and in this world in the boxing game in several capacities. Now, moving on into the show. The show is really more about enjoying boxing, talking boxing, giving knowledge in boxing. We enjoy watching the major fights, but we also enjoy watching the smaller fights. All of it's learnable. We can't wait to see what's going to happen on an amateur level. We got a few people that we, respect and like in the city that we hope do well in national tournaments. With COVID and everything, a lot of the boxing has been shut down in a lot of ways, especially on the amateur level. So them being able to go to nationals and be able to compete after having such long layoffs, Puma alluding to his layoff, just about everybody that boxes has been laid off as of late. So, I really hope that everybody has a good time and competes well, especially if you're representing Sacramento going out to nationals. I'll get into that list later. I got a lot of locals that I support, and I definitely want to shout them out. Moving on, we're going to break down real fights, big fights. I want to talk about the whys, the hows, and not just the whats. We all seen the Crawford, the Brook fight. I mean, if you're a fight fan, you've seen the Haney-Gamboa fight. Well, we got round-by-round breakdowns today of what we believed happened in those fights. And, I also want to talk about what things look like moving forward, like for Crawford, for Haney, but also for Gamboa, and definitely for Kell Brook. Hearing his post-fight presser, I got some things to say about Kell Brook, too. Some questions that I have for Kell Brook. We'll get into some predictions. We want to talk moving forward. We want to hear what you have to say about who you think is going to win. And then I want to bounce back on you the following week, and I want to talk about whether or not you knew anything about boxing or not. I want to talk about whether or not your predictions come true. We want to have in-depth predictions. I don't want to just really base it on, who you think is cool, or I need reasons why. We want to talk boxing. We want to talk the theories. We want to see who knows what and have fun with it. We also have some question and answers. Feel free to get on XRadio.live. Feel free to get on X4L Entertainment. Both of them on Instagram. You can hop on my live. You can hop on Puma's live. Ask to get on the video. We'll put you on screen. Give us some questions. We'll answer questions. We'll go in there and do shout outs. So yeah, please talk to us. We talk back. We want to know what you think just as much as we want to tell you what we think. So before we get into things, let's take a little break. You guys know who we are. You know what we came to do. And we just want to play a little music, have a little fun, and get set up. Our first discussion for the day, we're going to get straight into that Crawford-Brook fight. I'm really excited about that fight. I can't wait to talk about it. We're going to talk about a few other things, but that Crawford-Brook fight is serious business, and we'll get into that in just a second, man. Everybody take a break, groove with us for a minute, man. Let me play something from my playlist, man. Things to be like in that dojo. Yes. Give me a little sip, man. How y'all feeling out there, man? Me and Puma having a good time up here. You see what's going on. We podcasting right now. Having a good one up here at X4L. Who we got over here? What's up, Ezra, boy? I ain't seen that boy in a minute. I remember he came to a fight with us. A1 Marls all day. That's my dog right there. Yes, sir. Who we got over here, man? Got my girl Carol. Oh, hey. My boy Gennaro said he can't see you like that. I gotta move my mic, man. He can't see Puma face, man. That's his folks right there. That's his buddy, man. Good looking out, Gennaro. Ooh, okay, I see you. Gingy and at work, she's still getting a little view in. Hey, we got the big dogs in here. You see Wallace Gonzalez, Sax Finest Boxing. Shout outs to some of the best out of Sacramento. Straight up, man. Big dogs right there, man. I appreciate you. Who else we got over here? Man, we got Dominate Daily. 81 Morals, what's up? Lady Cole's out there giving it up for Shallow. Built Movement, man. If you guys need good food, man. If you guys need meal prep, man, my people will take good care of you. My folks Bree on here, that's what's up. The biologist stood through, Miss Jones, Coco. I see the family in here. Young Liza in here banging Shallow, that's what's up. Good stuff, man. I love it, man. I see a lot of the family showing up. Armand, let's get it going, man. Have y'all been to the dojo, man? You know this is one of my ones, man. I'm a regular fan, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I need help, man. On television. I got my notes here, man. You know, we got plenty to talk about. Really excited to keep you guys entertained today. Having fun. So while we into it, while we on break, y'all get some behind the scenes action real quick. I think it's about to tell Brooke and Crawford fight. Are you surprised about Crawford?
Honestly, because
Don't give up too much. Don't give up too much yet.
Yeah, but like, I knew he had that yes possible.
But
I didn't come to this, I didn't come to that.
Right.
I thought it was gonna come from the firehouse.
Right. I feel that. I definitely thought that too because of his attitude.
Yeah.
His bite down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt like. Right. So that's interesting, man, because that was a good scrap that we seen last night. We'll get into it in just a second, and we'll break it down more. But yeah, that was an interesting fight. We were both pretty surprised by that one. There was a couple of undercards too that were pretty fire.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My bad, y'all. Y'all on my phone be popping. Anyway, we're back from break. Let's get it going again. So our first discussion of the In This Corner podcast is on Crawford versus Brooke. What a fight, man. Before we get into this whole breakdown, I just want to give y'all a little background on the fighters. That's going to be part of my process. I hope you guys pick up a little extra information when it comes to some of these fighters, man. I do hope to spread a little boxing knowledge. I took my time to stack up some facts to give you guys a little background information on some of these people that you might watch, right? Yeah. So first off, let's talk about Crawford. He's 31 years old. He's a 3-time world champion
in 3 different weight classes.
3 weight classes, right? What weight class is that? Lightweight?
Light, welterweight, and welterweight himself.
Right. So we got a guy that's definitely grown through the ranks, who's definitely not only shown that he has enough strength, power, and knowledge to fight in separate weight classes, but he's also grown within the sport enough to show excellence in all those weight classes. And that's a rare thing. You have champions now that have been publicized so much for going through all these weight classes and 6-time, 5-time, and it's funny because you see all these advertisements, but if you really count them up, there ain't a lot of people that are able to do those type of things, So shout out to Crawford, man, for being able to grow through the ranks and become a champion at several different levels. He became undisputed light welterweight champion in 2017. And he was also the first to hold all 4 major titles since Jermaine Taylor. Y'all remember the Bull? Jermaine Taylor used to make me mad, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. The little bull thing and all that he used to do in the ring. He beat a couple people that I didn't want him to beat. You know what I'm saying? Of course, that whole thing with Roy. Okay, I'm not a Jermaine Taylor fan, but I got a lot of respect for the man. You feel me? He's been the first undisputed since way back in 2005, man. It's 2020, man. In the last 15 years, there hasn't been another undisputed guy like Terrence Crawford, man. The things that he's doing in boxing, that's major. You know what I mean? He was also ranked pound for pound in December by BoxRec. That was December 2019. If you guys know what BoxRec is like the website that keeps track of the boxing records. That's like one of the most informative and the most accurate places you can go to find out what you need to find out about a boxer, even like their upcoming fight. As long as it's signed and it's sanctioned, it'll be on BoxRec. So with BoxRec calling him pound for pound in 2019, I don't see why there's reason to debate. Just to be honest with you, man, I feel like the debate has been solved a long time ago. People trying to take away from him being called pound for pound is clear favoritism. The things that he's done in the game lets me know that he is, I mean, especially what he did with Kell Brook. It lets me know that he deserves that name. He deserves that moniker, and he has that name has been given to men who have done lesser things.
That's a monster of a man right there.
That's a monster of a man. And you know, I'm just gonna say it, man. You know, they try to put that name on Lomachenko. They try to put that. They try to put that name on Lomachenko, but that's the thing about being pound for pound, calling somebody the greatest, calling somebody the best. It's one thing to see a skill set. You see somebody that's really good at what they do, special even. Prince Nassim Hamed was special for a while, right? I mean, I can name a few fighters that have had styles that seem exquisite, special. Does that make them the pound for pound best? Because they've done things faster than someone else might have. Does that make them pound for pound the best? I don't think so. For a man that's gone through 36 competitions, that's 36 competitions, 37 now, and he's shown up the way he has, I think that's making a dispute for a pound for pound best in this day and age. So with that being said, you see where my opinion lies. I got a lot of respect for the man. On top of that, I'm a fan. When it comes to Kell Brook, he's 34 years old. Ezekiel Kell Brook. I bet you didn't know his name was Ezekiel. He was the IBF champion from 2014 to 2017 at welterweight. He's a British professional fighter. That might be why you haven't heard much about him until recently. A lot of those fighters from Britain, you know, they come over the pond, as they call it, and they fight American fighters, and they get what they get for the most part. Some of them have come over the pond and done some great things, no lie. Shout out to Tyson Fury, you know, gotta respect the guy. Shout out to OG, what's that boy that got knocked out by Mayweather? Ricky Hatton. Yeah, I liked him too, man. Mr. Kell Brook, he's challenged for the unified WBC, IBF, IBO middleweight championships. He challenged Spence and he challenged Golovkin. And he has some tough fights behind those. We'll get into those in a second. So let's talk about Crawford's last 5 fights. You know, you got a little background on them. You know, they were great pros, they were great amateurs, but their most recent competition says a lot about where they're at in their careers, right? Yeah. So the last 5 people that Crawford fight, all right, the first one's a little hard to pronounce, I won't lie. It's Aegis Kavialaskas. I believe I'm saying that right. If I'm not, someone correct me and send me a check on top of that. Why? I don't have a reason. I like money. Yeah, Kavialaskas, it was a TKO in the 9th. He dropped him in round 7 also, and twice in round 9. He just showed a lot of patience in that fight. I think that Terrence is used to having kind of scrappier fights. I think that the reason why he just showed the bits of success that he showed in that fight before getting knocked out is because he had patience and good timing. And I believe that Crawford has excellent timing as well, but he's not always the most patient fighter. He's a bit edgy. He's the type of guy that comes to party. So as the fight gets on long, he's not going to spend too much time not getting in the pocket and not getting the exchange going. Before that, it was Khan. You remember that fight? Did you see the Crawford-Khan fight?
Yeah, I remember that fight.
What did you remember about that fight?
I remember how tough it was for Amir Khan to take that power. He got dropped in that first round.
He did take that shot. He did. I think he was kind of shocked too. I think that people have a tendency to underestimate Crawford's power.
Especially because of how long he is.
Right. He probably touched him a lot quicker than he thought.
Yeah.
You know, Khan is a good fighter. I think that he's seen his best days already. But Khan's a really good fighter. I definitely feel as though he's one of those fighters that has a tendency maybe to fight a little bit with his ego. I've seen Khan make mistakes that, in my opinion, you know, were more based on his ego than his skill set. Yeah. The one that comes to mind the most was the success he was having with Canelo and how he just, you know, in the middle of the fight decided that he was tough enough to get, you know, in the pocket with Canelo. Yeah. I think that he thought that those shots that he was landing were having the type of effect that would allow him to really exist in that kind of space with Canelo. And I just really still, to this day, feel like it was his ego that kept him close enough for Canelo to land that shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you think...
And then Khan's chin has been checked a few times.
He's a little chinny. Before that was Jose Benavidez Jr. That was a TK on the 12th. That fight was actually very competitive. Benavidez is a decent fighter. I did not think that he would beat Crawford in that fight. I didn't have faith in him in that fight.
I like Benavidez though. Benavidez is a rough fighter. He's a strong fighter. He's smart too.
He puts together good combinations. He's not a pot shot fighter. He's got a good tank. Crawford's just built different, man. In that fight, I felt like the body work that he put together, it broke him down quite a bit. Over the course of the fight, Crawford can be very mean with his combination punching, and he puts a lot of intent behind some of his shots, man. So I think that body work really put a number on Benavidez in that fight, because Benavidez has the hand speed. Yeah. And he has the gas to be competitive punch for punch. I just don't think that he had the tank after he got his body assaulted. Yeah. Before that was the Jeff Horn fight. Jeff Horn, that fight, I don't. Did you see that fight? I don't know if you remember that fight. The Jeff Horn fight was tough. He knocked Jeff Horn out in the 9th, but the thing about that fight was he had just got through beating up Pacquiao. I ain't gonna say he beat up Pacquiao. A lot of people feel like he got gifted. I can respect and understand that. I'm not a fan, but I respect the man. The thing about that fight, man, I think that Jeff Horn came into that fight thinking he was the bull. He thought he was strong. He felt like he had pushed Pacquiao around a little bit and roughed him up to get that fight done.
Look at how established Pacquiao is. Like, that guy come from something.
And I think that he forgets that Pacquiao and that man Crawford are two different sizes. They fight in the same weight class, but those men are two different sizes. Pacquiao came from very, very low. I'm talking about like near strawweight. I mean, I know he was before. I think he might have started at bantam, or it might have been straw. I think he started at 108. So with that being said, for a man to come up that high in weight class, when you fight him at 147, he does not possess the same size that a man has that's maybe fought at 147 for most of his career. A guy that typically probably walks around closer to 170 himself. Yeah. Is just a bigger guy. So I think that when he came into that fight, he had that mindset. I'm going to pump this guy Crawford around. I'm going to push him around. And Crawford handled his business like a savage in that fight. And it was a great fight. I think that, Horn was really surprised by the power and the strength that Crawford possesses, the pop that he has, but more than anything, like the jockeying in the clinch. In the clinch, I think that Crawford showed up differently. You know what I mean? So, great fight. Before that was a heavy challenger in an Ndongo. I don't know if you guys know who Ndongo is, but he is a hard-nosed veteran. He is a hard-nosed veteran. That man is the journeyman that came to work. He got knocked out in the 3rd round. Got dropped in the 2nd, got knocked out in the 3rd. And, that was no easy task. Ndongo is by no means elite. Like top tier elite, but he is a very, very tough competitor, and that was a great fight to show the kind of pedigree that Crawford has. So when you look at those last 5 fights, going over those, I ain't gonna say that it's top tier going through the whole list, but those are pretty decent opponents. Pretty decent opponents to help create a good challenger, to create a good champion, and to give them good tests along the way. Some of those fights going the full 12, some of those fights end up being knockouts. I think it set him up well to show up nicely in this Kell Brook fight. This Kell Brook fight is probably the door that'll open him up to some of those real legacy fights that we know that man needs.
Yeah, it really attested to Crawford's legacy, because that shows like his, not between those big names that he put down, how established he is.
I definitely respect that, man. And I think that part of the criticism he gets because he's on Top Rank is that he hasn't fought some of the other big names, those elite names that are going to give him the type of legacy that he may or may not deserve, depending on if he's able to win those fights. I think that because he, after this fight, was actually a free agent, but showed up to his post-fight presser with Bob Arum. I'm pretty sure that Bob Arum talked very sweetly to that man to make sure that he stayed with Top Rank, and I'm certain that he made some commitments towards getting that guy the kind of legacy fights that he feels like he needs and deserves. So I'd be interested to see if he does get a chance to the Body Armor. You know he's sponsored. Let me get that in the camera frame. Body Armor, because I drink it and they ain't paying me for it. But maybe one day they will. Body Armor, the official sponsor of Shallow Boxing Team and all things Shallow. Moving on, let's talk about Brook, man. Let's talk about Brook's last 5 fights. Now, Brooks' last 5 fights have some big names on them. Unfortunately, they got some L's on there too. Crawford is an undefeated fighter. Brook has took some losses, but they've only been by A-grade opponents, A+ even. So let's talk about it, man. The last win he had was Mark DeLuca. I didn't see that fight. I don't know who Mark DeLuca is, and I don't believe that's the kind of fight that Kell Brook needs to make a statement for himself. He knocked the guy out in the 7th round. No disrespect to DeLuca. I might be missing the mark on this one. I just don't feel like there was much point to that. Michael Zarafa took him to the decision. That actually was a tougher fight. Michael Zarafa is another journeyman. Nothing elite about him exactly, but definitely a hard-nosed fighter. Probably the type of fight Brook needed, coming off of those L's and just the small layoffs that he had to just really give him those rounds to help toughen him up. But it kind of gave us a little bit of viewpoint on him maybe not having that pedigree that he needs. We'd have to see what happens with that. The Rabchenko fight, he knocked him out in the 2nd. He looked nice in that fight. He looked good. He was in shape. He made weight easily. It wasn't a tough fight for him, and it was the kind of fight he needed coming off the Errol Spence fight. Before the Rabchenko fight, and he went on that string of wins against those lower tier opponents. I believe they were trying to build him up for another big money fight. He took on Errol Spence and Gennady Golovkin, and if you know anything about those fights, in each of those fights, he sustained heavy damage. Gennady Golovkin broke one of his eye orbitals, and
it was the right one.
I was trying to think of who broke which one.
I believe the right one was Golovkin.
So he had to get surgery on his eye orbital. He actually hit the man hard enough to break the bone that goes around your eyeball. He broke his eye his orbital, and he had to get titanium put into his skull to protect his eye moving forward. Right after that, he had a back-to-back fight with the young bull, Errol Spence. The dog. The truth. And guess what? Of all things that could happen to the man, he broke his other eye orbital. I mean, bro, broke both the man's eyeballs. You understand what I'm saying? Another titanium replacement to protect his eye. A cold, dirty game, man. So, when you think about him coming off those 2 losses and the type of damage that he took, when you look at the type of competition that he faced leading up into this fight.
Which probably attributes to the fact that he broke both eyeballs, but he wanted to take lower class opponents.
Maybe a confidence thing even. Tough.
That's scary, breaking both of them.
Come on.
Fights.
Tough. So, I think that was part of what showed up in this fight, right? So, moving into the breakdown. Let's talk about the breakdown. How did this fight go? So, what I wanted to do in this fight, I wanted to just go round by round and just really just tell you guys what I seen round by round, right? And Puma, you can agree with me or you can debate. Let me know what you seen. Yeah. But round by round, I felt like, this fight was way shorter than I thought it was going to be. Just knowing who Kell Brook is, and even with the information we just gave you, him taking a few subpar matches, him taking the heavy damage that he is still a boy. And, if you looked at the odds makers in Vegas, they had my man Crawford up like 2,400 or so, or 2,000, minus 2,000. Basically, he was a heavy favorite. As the night wore on and the story was told and everybody got a chance to see that boy come to the weigh-in, looking razored up, legs just huge. Yeah, they started to have their doubts. They thought, there was a few dollars that poured in for Kell Brook, some support for Kell Brook. I don't think anybody expected the fight to go as fast as it did. With that being said, hopefully if they did, they bet and they made some good money. First round, they come out cautious. I see a lot of head movement on the part of Crawford. He's got a good rhythm and a head movement going. I see a very cautious and a very focused eye on Kell Brook. Both of them are holding a very clean and polished posture. Kell Brook's jab was just educated, though. I mean, I got to give him his props. In the beginning of that fight, he looked like he came to win. He looked like he came to party. His jab was very educated. He was very much calm, composed, and in the clutch. And he was firing that thing with authority. And it seemed to, at times, kind of, I won't say confused, but maybe frustrate and stymie Crawford just a taste. I definitely felt like Crawford had a hard time, really getting in there and working past that jab to establish a good first round for himself. I did see Crawford switch stances and get in a few shots.
Yeah, two things about Crawford is that he started the fight in an orthodox position. He did not start in his usual southpaw.
Right.
But going off of that, between Kell Brook's educated jab, Crawford is also someone that starts off very slow.
He does start a bit late. I think that, part of his work in that moment was just doing some downloading, really just trying to just get a feel for the timing, get a feel for the power, the speed that Kell Brook was bringing to the fight. He was spending some time just getting his mind right to set up his offense and to establish his defense. I just seen him trying to establish his jab and just seeming not to have an easy time with it in comparison to Kell Brook, who seemed to start landing his job rather automatically. Second round came out, and Kell Brook came back out with that jab. I mean, the jab was sticking. Kell Brook was moving nicely. I did see Crawford try to throw some energy out there. He put together a decent combo before the round ended. But he spent a lot of time, a lot of the same way that the first round was, just trying to work on that timing, work on that feeling. Both of them trying to establish that jab. They both took a chance on their right hands a little bit. I think that Crawford a lot of time was spending a lot of time trying to line his right hand up.
Yeah.
I seen him walking to his left quite a bit and just trying to work on just getting a good angle to get a good attack going. What's going on, young Joey out there, boxing life? Hey, if y'all don't know about it, man, that boy's a young bull. He been out there working hard. Follow him right now, Joey_boxing_life3. That's my dog, man. That boy's a young savage. Very fast, hard-working boy, and I hope to see great things from him coming up in National soon, too. Shout out. So, yeah, man, Crawford did throw a few switches in that round. I think that he took a good uppercut and quite a few jabs in that round. I feel like, Crawford was still warming up at that point. He still was trying to figure out what he was looking for and what he wanted.
Kell Brook was playing it smart, though. He was being patient. He was just sticking that jab out, keeping his distance clean, even though he is the shorter person.
Right.
With the smaller reach, he was getting in range to stick that jab.
That's a testament to his timing, though. That was a good fact. That was a good point. I think he had like a 4-inch reach advantage or something like that. I think Kell's like 68 and Crawford's like 72 or something.
74. That's like 6.
Crawford's 74. Yeah, that's like a 6-inch reach advantage. That's a big advantage. So yeah, shout out to Kell Brook for being able to land that jab under those conditions. Definitely. Round 3, Crawford came out a little aggressive. He kind of ran into a right hand early in the fight. Or early in that round, he started to swell a little bit. He had a little swelling going on around his eye. Those right hands started to stick because he switched up to his southpaw stance. Yeah. And Kell Brook started to find some success with that right hand.
Well, it was harder for him to throw that jab, though.
He did lose success with the jab. Very, very, very good point. In the first couple of rounds, Kell Brook was really, really successful with that jab. And I think Crawford switching to southpaw was his remedy for getting away from that jab, but it kind of opened up another can of worms with that right hand. Yeah. I seen him throw his lead as a double a few times even. He was very confident in throwing that right hand down the pipe. But Crawford did land a handful of shots in that round. It seemed like he was warming up and starting to find his distance a little better. But it's still, if I were to judge, I still would have probably gave that round to Brook, to be honest with you. And then comes round 4. Very interesting round. It was kind of cautious to begin with again, but you can see that the anxiety was mounting. The tension was rising, and Crawford landed a right hand like a near jab hook.
That was a jab.
Yeah,
I'll give that a jab.
Like a forceful kind of jab, a kind of rounded elbow. It wasn't like a straight shot, but it was really interesting the way the shot looked and the impact that it had on Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook took a long walk towards the ropes. He took a long sideways walk towards the ropes, and you know, he looked like it hurt. You know, it really looked like it hurt. You know, Crawford being a dog that he is, you know, he jumped on that fast. I mean, as soon as you show any kind of weakness around a guy like Crawford, man, he's going to take full advantage. So as soon as, you know, Kell took that shot and headed towards the ropes, Crawford just immediately went and jumped on him. He did a good job of not overdoing it and smothering his shots. You can see he was very edgy in the replays. He was looking to place those shots. He did a good job of dispatching of Kell Brook quite quickly. You know, he took a knockdown after that initial hard shot. He did get back up, but immediately after that, I mean, Kell Brook just, I think it was about 9 unanswered solid shots to end the night. At 1:14 in round 4. So with that said, man, you know, I really give the fight an A+. It showed a lot about Kell Brook, you know, and his space now in boxing.
Yeah.
I think that he looked a little gun shy. He looked a little shot in certain ways. I think that he's getting very, very close to the end of his career, if not at the end of it. I think it said a lot about Crawford. He is every bit of a dog that we expect him to be. However, he will not get the credit that he deserves until Bob Arum and Todd Brink and everybody, all the networks and everybody that's involved with that man gets out of his way and gives him a chance to prove himself against some top level competition. You know, there's some big boys out there at 147. Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, who he says he maybe wants the winner thereof. There's a lot of big boys out there that he wants some smoke with, man, that he needs to get some smoke with to really be able to prove his value. So I'm hoping the best for Crawford moving forward, that he's able to get the kind of like fight, career-defining fights that he needs, because at this point, it's kind of holding the man back. The post-fight presser, you know, there was a question going around before this fight, whether or not Kell Brook was taking this fight as a cash-out fight or not. A lot of people questioned whether or not Kell Brook genuinely felt like he had what it took to beat Crawford. Now, from the way that he fought in the first few rounds, I give Kell Brook a ton of credit. I do not believe that he came to lay down. I do question how he felt after the fight and where he feels like he can go now, because he's been beat by Errol Spence. He's been beat by Gennady. He's been beat by Crawford. I can't give you a name. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, who are we talking about here? I can't give you a name that's on that level, that's on that elite level for him to go after, that would be equivalent even, that would allow him to rise any further in his career. I don't see any fights being lined up for him that all the way makes sense outside of money, and him turning into a B-side and being a gatekeeper for one of these younger guys. So, tough fight for Brook. Love the guy. I respect the man. And I can say I'm a fan. But he's just in a different place right now. He's a different breed. He deserves his respect. And he doesn't have a lot of time left. At 31, he's been on top for a minute. We need those fights. We need those career-defining fights, and we need them soon. Crawford is 3 to 4 years out from being completely out of his prime. We need to give him a chance to really show who he is. So that's our breakdown for the Crawford versus Brook fight. Let us know in the comments if you agree. If you got anything to add, let us know how you feel. If you just think we're full of shit, let us know. Talk to us, we talk back. We do take questions and answers, and we'll do our best to tap in. Right now, we're going to take a little commercial music break. Shout out to our sponsors, and we'll get right back to you guys. After that, we will have another fight breakdown. We will be talking about that Haney Gamboa fight. I got a lot of things to say about the Haney Gamboa fight as well. A lot of things to say about young Haney himself. After that, we will get into a few predictions coming up. We got a hell of a fight card coming up November 28th. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that's that Mike Tyson, Roy Jones fight. There's a couple of fights on the undercard, one in particular that we are interested in here in Sacramento. So hang on tight. Let's take a little minute to vibe out, and I'll get right back to you guys with my next prediction and breakdown. Haney versus Gamboa is up next. Y'all see, man, we do this, man. You know, we podcast it. You know what I'm saying? Imagine with the hands and knees in the brain. You know, it's back. We're backstage again, guys. Just in case you didn't notice, you know, we're recording the podcast. We got, you know, camera set up. We got things going on. But like, you guys are backstage with us. Y'all is with us. You on my IG, you're with us. So, yeah, man, you know, we're just doing our thing. We're about to move into the next one. You feel me? We keep it informative for the people that love the game, that want to know things, that want to know people's opinions, and we are looking for y'all to give y'all opinions too. So please tap in. I'm always watching my live. If anybody wants to know anything, one love to everybody that loves us. I see a whole lot of people tapping in. What up, my boy Trigger Trey? I see my boy Junebug. What's up, Junebug? Yeah, I see my boy Jay Legend, man. That's my family member right there, man. Mo, what's up, Moses? Showtime Bear. Yeah, man, the room is doing good, man. I appreciate y'all for showing love, you know what I'm saying? People coming and going, man, getting it in with us. That's what's up. We're going to keep it popping for you guys week after week. We're going to have a few more, like, fun things to keep you guys tapped in. Get a chance to win some things from us. You know, I might throw some gloves out there, some hand wraps, or you never know, man. So hopefully you guys love it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, this is my song right here. Hey, bring that back for me. Try Jesus. Hey, this is the official song of the Shallow Boxing team. And don't you forget it. If you want to try anything, I would suggest that you try Jesus. Please, don't try me. Young Shallow? Oh, you say Brandon, that what you got on? Oh, okay, you got that Lionheart bite down T-on. Okay, you got that Lionheart bite down on. I feel it, man. You know, I got on my Shallow sweats. We keeping it shallow all day. My Shallow sweats on. I'm rocking that Xavier Martinez, you know, because I gotta give it up for my boy Xavier Martinez. Hard working young fighter right here that's gonna make Sacramento pretty proud. So try Jesus. Don't try me, 'cause I throw hands. Try Jesus. Please don't try me. So we're gonna talk Haney and Gamboa next. Haney and Gamboa, they got some history, man. Devin actually started out in Mexico in Tijuana alongside Xavier Martinez. Be interesting to see where they end when it all goes. Raiders winning big. Let's go. The 49ers losing. Hey, man, you gonna get me into it with X, man. You know what I'm saying? X gonna be all pissed off, saying I can't come to the dinner and shit because I don't like the Niners. Oh, you didn't know Puma? You didn't know Puma was joining the clan, huh?
I was keeping it on the low.
On the low.
I said last night I was doing my head there.
You didn't know he was giving you power, huh? Go ahead, man. Give him a little close up. You feel me? You gotta tell you, something. You know, just rocking. I'm fine with it. Didn't want me to flourish. I come from the ghetto. Where they was nervous. They thought that I was a fluke. It's one of my songs too, man. A lot of the music that I play, most of the music that I put on the podcast, I try to listen to music that has, you know, hey, look, Marl's like, I got you something with my hair. All right, we got you, bro. You know, we okay, I'm friends.
Even when they
Yeah, come over here and thug with us, man. You know you be your ghetto friends. Don't get you right, boy. Yeah, nah, man. I like to listen to music that keeps a solid message and that keeps us looking up and looking forward. What's up, Danny? Younger Nation. If y'all don't know about that Younger Nation, man, you definitely need to do a little bit of race research. That's YANGA. But yeah, man, I want to listen to music that uplifts me, man, that challenges me, that keeps me in a good space, man. I love all music for the most part. Every kind of music has its mode, but when it comes to the gym, when it comes to the fight game, I want songs that help us go up, man. So, it's my thing, man. It's my music.
I'm on a little more.
A little more what? Well, yeah,
I get it.
he need a little hard body music, he said. All he's saying is he want to hear the little youngsters with strap in, black, I'm about damn near 40 now, man. I want to hear all them youngsters talking about all that. Yeah. I sound like my daddy now. I sound like my daddy now. I don't want to hear all that shit. Well, they're cutting and all that. I don't know what they talking about. Can't understand the word they saying. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. And we are back. Let's go. So, next up, we got another fight breakdown. We're going to break it down. This fight breakdown comes from about a week ago. That boy, Devin Haney versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. What a fight. Now, first things first, man, I got to give some background on these guys. Back in the days, still to this day, I'm not the kind of guy that to just try to leave my guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a big Gamboa fan, man. I always liked Gamboa. I like that Cuban boxing style. I liked his speed, his flashiness with his hands. Not necessarily like his flashiness as a person, but like his hand speed, man, and his explosivity. He was a short, compact, just furious, fast, savage, man. I loved Yuriorkis Gamboa for many a year, man. I was hurt and sad to see him start to slow down and taper. As a kind of fighter that I wanted to see thrive. He was along the lines of Felix Trinidad and a few of the other, Cuban and Dominican fighters that I just really enjoyed watching coming up. He was a Cuban unified feather weight champion, 4-time Cuban champion. He was the WBA and IBF champion from 2009 to 2011. So that's 2 years, man, straight through he held on to the championship. He defended his titles. He was also a super feather and a lightweight champion as well. He got gold medals in the Olympics at flyweight in 2004, and he earned bronze at featherweight. So you're talking about a guy that comes he's got a heavy amateur pedigree. The kid has he put in major work in the amateur. He has big accolades, which led to very, very, very big and major fights when he became a pro. He did face some very decent competition over his career. Going over his last 5 fights, he fought Miguel Beltran. Miguel Beltran is a seasoned veteran, hard-nosed veteran. Not an easy guy to get past. He has turned into a little bit more of a gatekeeper at this point in his life, not necessarily getting to those highest echelons of boxing. With that being said, he is no pushover by any means. He also fought Sosa. Sosa was a good fight for him. It helped to develop a little bit of his hard nose. Sosa came to fight. Sosa also is definitely not elite tier. It was a good fight for him, but not the kind of fight that he needed to help define his career. Now, his win against Roman Chocolatito Martinez was a big deal. That was a good fight for him. Chocolatito is no pushover at all. He also did not get to that A+ level, but he is a A-, B+ fighter. You might even argue to call him an A fighter. So that was a good fight for him leading up to that Gervonta Davis fight. Now, it kind of bothers me a little bit, you know. I don't know precisely how everything occurred with the whole, like, malfunction with his shoe. You know, his shoe was, like, falling apart in the fight.
Yeah, that was weird.
Right?
I remember that. That was weird.
Like, what's going on here? But on top of that, he injured his Achilles very bad. So, his mobility, his explosivity, all of those things were sacrificed in that fight. I was damn surprised to see him do as good as he did against Gervonta for as long as he did, with that leg and that mobility being as limited as this was. Honestly, I thought Gervonta was going to make his head fly much earlier than that. I was very surprised to see Gamboa be able to actually hold his feet for the amount of time that man had him wobbling. Jesus. I felt bad watching that fight, man. I told you I like Gamboa. It was just like watching one of your favorite friends or watching a tree fall, man. It was just tragic. With that being said, the rise of Gervonta Davis cannot be denied. I had no doubt in my mind that Gervonta Davis was going to crush that man. That led up to our recent fight, the Haney fight.
That fight was dope. Honestly, I'm not going to get into it yet. We haven't talked about it yet, but that fight was dope.
He surprised me in that fight, especially coming off the heels of that Gervonta fight. I can respect what Gamboa was able to put together in that fight. Before we get into that fight, good point, young man, we will get into Devin Miles Haney, the dream. Devin Haney, man, he is currently the WBC lightweight title holder. He's had it since 2019. He is 25-0 currently with 15 wins by knockout, 15 big wins by way of KO. He was a 7-time national champion. He won 138-8 in his amateur career. Highly decorated amateur for sure. He went pro in 2015.
At the age of 17.
At the age of 17, one of the youngest to go pro up to that point. He went pro out in Mexico alongside our hometown hero, Xavier Martinez. His last 5 fights were, I would say, a little less impressive than Yuriorkis Gamboa, only because he has Haney and Gervonta on his list. And I'll put Chocolatito out there. With that being said, Devin has fought Antonio Moran. Now, to his credit, that he was 22-0, undefeated fighter. Just once again, not a big marquee fighter. He fought Dogeni. I'm sorry. Bad pronunciation. Ndogeni. He was 21-0. Once again, not a marquee fighter. Obviously 21-0. Obviously no pushover. The O had to go. Devin Haney supplied what he needed. Zaire Abdullaev. I've heard his name a few times. Can't say I'm too informed on Zaire as well. I don't believe that he's fought too many times in America. He was also 23-0. I would be curious to know what his last 5 fights were, because get to 23-0, I don't know if he fought anybody of substance before he faced Haney. When he faced Haney, obviously he was not good enough to make it. We got Alfred Santiago, who was 24-0 as well. That was the fight leading up to this Yuriorkis Gamboa fight. I believe that the majority of those fights, even though those fighters were all undefeated and somewhere around 20 fights, were showcase fights for Devin Miles Haney, warming him up for his title run that he was looking to accomplish. He did get himself his hands on an interim title. In between that, he just didn't have to have a fight where he fought for said title. Before that, he got a title, an interim title, by way of circumstance. With that being said, his last win is with Yuriorkis Gamboa. Let's go on and get into that fight real quick. Round 1, Haney versus Gamboa. What did you see to begin with?
I saw one thing was that the difference when the two was jab. Haney was maintaining a very good, keeping the distance with the jab.
Yes.
And he was going to the body heavily.
He was throwing that jab to the body nicely, wasn't he? He was doubling that jab, head and body, head nicely. Gamboa started out pressing. The problem was he just wasn't landing much.
He was out of range the whole time. He couldn't really get close.
He just really couldn't get his jab in place. He will not get no respect. He has no power. Heard, Gennaro. I'm gonna get to that comment in just a second. Appreciate the comment. Heard you loud and clear. I'm gonna give you my opinion on that as well. Everybody, if you are on my live, there is a comment in the section that you might want to pay attention to in regards to this fight. For those of you that are not on my live, I got my buddy Gennaro. He just said that as Haney goes up in competition, he won't get the respect that he probably feels like he will need because of his lack of power. He feels like on the highest tier, that power is not going to show up in a way that's going to allow Haney to fight with his style in a way that's going to allow him to win. So we will see about that shortly, and I'll give you my opinion on that in just a moment. Round one, it seemed like Devin started to establish the jab to the head and to the body. It looks like Yurielka Gamboa was just trying to find some rhythm, trying to find some shots. He just didn't have much success. He wasn't able to land much. Devin definitely had a nice round starting out. Smooth round. Round two, Devin continues with that educated jab. Gamboa looked like he understood he needed to close the distance. Being a shorter arm fighter, we were all looking for that explosion.
You looking for that lunging to get it close.
That speed.
And it wasn't there.
He couldn't find it off the rhythm, off the jab, or off the right hand.
And he might have been scared of his Achilles.
Wow. Good point. He might have been scared to explode from the feet due to his past Achilles injury.
You could look at the high-level athletes, just in general, coming off of Achilles injuries.
And an Achilles injury has a lot to do with a person's ability to accelerate forwards, backwards, to be able to stop on a dime. There is a chance that he wasn't able to use the level of footwork that we are accustomed to seeing from a Gamboa for fear of hurting his Achilles again. Great point. Great point. We've seen Haney go for a big hook at the end of the round. You see he wanted to take his head off, but it was just kind of like another decent, easy stale round. A lot of jabs, distance established. I think at this point, Haney's in the driver's seat.
And mind you, coming into this fight, Haney had repeatedly said that he wanted to knock Gamboa out. He wanted to knock him down 4 times before he knocked him out. He was looking to take his head off.
Good point, because he did throw a big hook at the end of round 2. I'll get back to that point, because as the rounds progressed, I wonder why or how that played out. Round 3, I see Gamboa coming forward. He gets caught. He's trying to close that distance, and that boy Devin Haney's sitting there baking that right hand, and he's running that jab, man. And, he's trying his best to get in there, but he's getting countered by a sharp and a smooth Haney. Haney definitely sees what's coming at him. Gamboa does not have the footwork or the hand speed to hide his intentions at this point. And I see Haney just picking him off as he comes in.
Yeah.
Haney's controlling the distance, and he's pot shotting at this point. He's landing body shots, and
but even with the pot shots, he's still outscoring him.
Yes. But I think he was mildly ineffective for the most part in his attempt to walk him down, just because at this point Gamboa still has a decent defense to some degree. Yeah. Haney's landing shots and he's throwing shots, but he's not necessarily landing anything of substance besides the jab and the occasional check. So decent round. I enjoyed watching rounds 1 through 3. I feel like Devin Haney in the first quarter of the fight is firmly in the driver's seat. Gamboa needs to figure out something else. He is getting outscored based on the fact that he doesn't have the footwork or the length at the arm to close the distance, to land those shots on the regular. And he's running into way too many jabs at this point. Number 4, round 4, we get more of Devin Haney. Jabbing, feinting, walking forward. Haney's landing hooks up top and to the bottom. So now we got them trading heavy shots. The fight is on in round 4. Devin Haney is getting the best of it. He's definitely throwing hard shots. He hit him with an overhand right, a big time right by Devin Haney. Gamboa's loading up and he's missing. He still can't close the distance on those shots. He's loading up. He's trying to throw with hard intent, but you can see Devin Haney being masterful in the pocket and showing that he knows just how close to be to land his shots and to keep Gamboa at bay. Doesn't mean Gamboa doesn't land any shots, but he is not regularly landing with the type of intentions that he is looking for. takes a big right overhand before the round ends. Tough round for Gamboa. Devin Haney took a few shots, a little bit of leather, but tough round for Gamboa. Fifth round, Devin Haney's back running hard. Educated jab. I mean, educated jab.
This fight, he really showed up his IQ in terms of keeping the distance. He's really keeping his range while still walking him down.
Definitely fought a smart fight. A smart fight. We'll get into that in a second, too. Devin Haney showing good footwork at this point. He's missing when he loads up a bit, but when he brings it down and he combination punches and he's throwing that jab, he's giving Gamboa a lot of problems at this point. When Gamboa is charging in, not only is he making Gamboa miss by controlling the distance, but also good head movement, good trunk movement, but he's also grabbing and he's smothering and he's stopping Gamboa from having any time to really work inside and find any real success. And up to this point, Haney's still picking a shot at a time, pot-shotting 2 shots at a time, just making Gamboa pay for trying to close that distance. Tough round for Gamboa again. Tough round for Gamboa. Round 6, he comes in. Gamboa comes in, coming forward, and he ran into a lot of check hooks, a lot of counters. Devin Haney's controlling the ring. He's being a ring general. He's controlling the tempo. He's controlling the distance. And we're watching Gamboa try hard, but he's suffering. He's running into hard shots. He's running into counter after counter, and he just can't seem to establish any kind of real rhythm that allows him to kind of turn that coin and start getting some momentum in his direction.
Haney was really forcing him to play the opposite of his game plan. Haney was keeping the middle of the ring, keeping the distance with his jab, while Gamboa's best when he's in tight and he's controlling the middle of the ring, walking someone down, getting in close, and running his work.
And while Haney was controlling the distance very well, he was controlling the distance while going forward. That's a big deal. That's a big difference. While going forward, he was able to keep Gamboa having to fight off the back foot, which he's not best at. And then still also be in control of the distance enough that when Gamboa decided to come forward, he was able to not only deal with it, but he was able to dispatch of it. At this point, Gamboa is in the fight, but is unsuccessful in the fight. He is not getting driven back and just beat up, but in no way is he gaining an advantage at this point in any real manner. Devin Haney has been a consummate professional, picking shots and working hard. Thank you. Glow from head to toe. Check it out. My girl Gia is an esthetician. If you need waxing, if you need anything to be repaired, facials, you want to get your glow together, get smooth, then go ahead and glow from head to toe. She is right there in my comment section. Do some networking, people. Get beautiful. She'll help you. Thank you for the congratulations. Round 7 is the same as the last rounds, man. You know what I'm saying? We see Devin Haney now kind of like coming behind his left hook. He's throwing that gazelle. He's landing it from time to time. He's trying to set up that uppercut off the back step, because Gamboa is trying hard to be able to come forward. But Devin Haney is laying traps for him. He's making it hard for him to feel comfortable coming forward without getting taxed. And at this point, Devin Haney is showing vocabulary. He's throwing hooks, uppercuts, top, bottom, jabs, leads. He's putting all his arsenal together. Now, he's not running them back to back, but in pockets, he's showing a lot of different wrinkles to his game.
And throughout all these rounds, he's still hitting them with body work. Still working, he's working the right hook to the body.
Still sweeping that belt line. Still sweeping that belt line, no lie. And the body work, I feel like, had a lot to do with keeping Gamboa at bay from being able to be as explosive as he might have wanted to be.
Because he couldn't even do it to start off with. He didn't have it to start out with, and he's already taking bits out of his gas.
Sadistic. The man ain't got the gas to run with you already, and you start knocking the wind out of his sails. Tough one. Tough one. Merc, middle finger, what up, baby? That's my dog, man. If you guys need some new hip-hop and boom bap in your life, then holla at my man Merc Middle Fingers. Not only does he make beats, but he also makes music. That's my people, man. I gotta shout out the people that showed me love. You show me love, and I show it right back. We will be doing some networking on this podcast. You will learn about plenty of services in things to make you more healthy and clean. That's what we're into. You know, whether it's meal prep services, whether it's self-care, beautification, we care very much about keeping ourselves up to par.
My dad don't rap no more, but you know he still got bars.
Hey. Round 8, we got a couple of exchanges. Both of them got to be worn to fight clean. To fight clean at this point. You know, we see these guys kind of like, you know, at this point trying to mix it up, but it's still a lot of the same. You know, at this point the fight has developed its rhythm. At this point the fight has developed its. There's nothing that's gonna really go up or down from here.
One thing I did see different though was that Danny was a bit more aggressive.
Yes.
He was trying to push that action and walking him down.
Yes. I do believe he was trying to push that action, but I don't believe that he was trying to take too many chances.
Yeah, he was being.
It was a very intelligent assault,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a very hard or effective assault in those moments. Tough one. I think that round 9, you know, we see a lot of the same, a lot more jab, a lot more Devin Haney establishing his dominance, a lot more of just Gamboa starting to fade. You know, just looking at Gamboa in these last rounds, I'm watching, you know, I'm watching him just work hard and try. I'm watching him compete, but I see that he just doesn't have it in him. He does not have the capability to.
Adjusting.
He can't make the adjustments anymore, man. And the reason why is because he has the intellect, but he does not have the response from his body anymore. He is not able to make the kind of moves that run through his mind.
Yeah.
He's capable mentally. Physically, I don't know if Gamboa's got it anymore. So, you know, I give Devin Haney all the credit in the world for fighting Gamboa, but I can't say that he fought Gamboa at his best. Fought him better than Tank fought him. He didn't have a busted Achilles tendon. With that being said, he still just wasn't able to get him out of there. Tough fight all the way around for Gamboa. Great fight all the way around for Devin Haney. But due to the lead up to that fight, I question, did that fight help or hurt Devin Haney?
That can go both ways. That goes both ways.
Looking forward, trying to get to that upper echelon of fights, the people demand entertainment. Was that the kind of fight that's going to secure those big money fights that he's looking for, especially after having promised a knockout and such a sensational show and having showed up so on par nearly with Gamboa, although clearly a step ahead and beyond. Round 10. Round 10, Gamboa lost a point for holding. He's, at this point, trying. You know, Devin maintained an intelligent fight. He had great defense and awareness. His ring generalship was A+. A+. He handled his business. He had solid rhythm and tempo, an educated jab, and he focused on those body jabs. I just don't think that Gamboa had what it took, you know what I'm saying? He didn't seem to hurt Gamboa in a real way at any point, but I think that his exchanges and his combinations...
I feel like he did, not necessarily like hurt him like, as in like, visibly.
Right.
But I feel like because he got a point taken away from holding, I feel like some shots did buzz him a bit.
Maybe he was playing a little survival.
Because it's either that, or he was holding to try to get in close, but you wouldn't hold for so long in an attempt to get in close to do work.
Well, you know, people hold for a variety of reasons. You know, it's a possibility that he was holding to try to smother some of that offense. I believe that some of that
also could have been because he was hurt.
Facts.
Because he was being limited with so many options. Like,
with that being said, hurt and hurting are two different things. Hurt meaning like he didn't wobble, man. He didn't wobble. He didn't fall. He didn't cover up for an extended period. We couldn't visibly see that he was hurt. I don't know if Haney has the capability of putting that kind of hurt on him or not. I can't say that I doubt him. I've seen Devin with some pop. Does he have the kind of power that's going to take him up through those upper levels? You know, Teofimo Lopez is out there, right? Ryan Garcia's out there. Devin Haney's out there. Or excuse me, Tevin Haney. Tank Davis is out there. There's some fights out there. I want to see what he's got going for himself. I think that we'll see soon. So we're going to take another break, right? Give y'all some jams and tunes. That's another fight breakdown. If you got any opinions, you want to add to that in any way, we will get right to you. We will be ending our show here shortly. We will come back with a little update and some fight predictions. It's time to talk about Blake McKernan. It's time to talk about Blake McKernan. What's going on in SAC right now? We talking about it when we get back.
How they gon' judge me? How you do that?
They don't even know. They say when it changed me. I'm actually really excited about this card coming up. Not because of Mike and not because of Roy, because my feelings are hurt that two of my legends are fighting. But I can't wait to see how Blake is able to. Like, what kind of account is he gonna give for himself? Somebody go tell Blake I'm live about to talk about it. Go get Blake on my live. Somebody hit Blake up. Where is Blake McKernan? Because he needs to chime in right now and talk his ish too. And let him know I'm gonna have to have Blake McKernan come on the show shortly. That way he can tell everybody how he feels. That's a big stage. Like, Blake just made a huge level of it. That's a big stage that he's fighting on. Like, the venue, huge. Staples Center in LA, that's big business. My question is, like, how's he gonna show up on pay-per-view? How's that level of fight gonna affect him on fight day? He seems to be handling things very well up to this point. He was talking a lot of shit in a very respectful manner, standing on his word. He's been working his tail off. I really believe in my heart that Blake feels like he can win this fight. I'd like to see it. We'll discuss it in a moment. Shit that I ain't got control of. Can't make the time to do nothing I want. I just get high, you can't deal with it, so up there, this world so cold. I was running so low, swear to God, so eat love. Never been the same since the day I seen the lane. Yeah, I'm interested to see who else is on that other card too. I'd like to know who else is on that other card. I can't take your word, I'm just going off everything you show me. Let's speak loud, all I need, double cup and weed, the only thing that stop me, slow me up, cause I've been going through it. You don't need so, he says as Haney gets into higher level opponents, he will not get no respect. He has no cloud of respect. Higher level opponents gonna walk through his shit. Watch and see.
I can see that. I feel like his pedigree and the IQ.
Right.
I wrote this shit for Ronnie, just know I'm here for you, brother. Reminiscing on the days when I shed a tear for you, brother. Know the toughest things you been through, I'm in the rear for you, brother. God moves on his own time, and he made it clear to you, brother. See the finish line. I visualize realities, I want it, then finish line. It ain't how you
I try to wave at my people real quick, man. Go through the little comments section. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, man. This is our first show. Just lifting it off the ground. We're gonna have special guests. We're gonna have so much information come out. It's gonna be fun, man. You know, try to keep you guys informed, keep you guys talking trash. You know, like I said, I welcome you guys' opinions. Get on here, man, and act the fool, man. You know what I mean? Because this is here for us. You know, your opinions count. We will discuss them as much as possible. Young Chazzy's back, you feel me? Don't trip, Chazzy, you know we got you in the rotation too, Pop. You know what I'm saying? We get some of that Chazzy 25 times fold on the real day. We're gonna keep that going in the show. You know we got that rest like Roger in the back. My boy Drew, blood, that's one of my students. I see you out here, boy. Love you, boy. We got came on that glam in the house. Hey, listen, if you need your face beat, I mean, if you need a beat down, you need to hit Came on that glam. She's one of the best makeup artists in Sacramento area. She has just about every palette and or piece of makeup that you could ever need. She is definitely the person you want to talk to if you're modeling, if you have family portraits, if you're having a wedding, if you are just going out there tonight. Tap in. She will beat your face for an excellent price and very professional treatment. All good, Came on that glam. See you out there working. Oh, you had to bless your boy real quick. Chazzy, your boy Puma had a little request. For everybody out there in Instagram land, this is one of our theme songs as well. We listen to it every day in the dojo. Shout out to Chazzy 25 times 4. He put together one of the ones that speak to our soul, man. You get knocked down, you get up every time, man. Shout out to Xavier Martinez for getting knocked down this fight and getting up and winning. He wrote this song for you, bro.
But I'm looking at the stars. Think I was gonna make it, but I made it this far. Think I was gonna make it, but I made it this far. So Lake City tried to get me, but I beat the charge. Yeah. Nigga for my daughter bailed out for the boss. Yeah. 100 grand, I'm like, fuck it, what's the cost? Yeah. Call one of my bitches, get me out, I'm a boss. Yeah. Lake City got my back, so you know I'm a real one. Get my intuition when I get that feeling. I can't tell myself I never had the option. Bring down the path for this trip,
put a flip on.
We had to hustle hard, get it through the trap.
Talk to him, Chaz. Nigga, that's from Sad. My soul been tested and tried. Through the night, get up every time, yeah. Hey, knock down, I get up every time, yeah. That's that real music, man. What'd he say? Hey.
I'm pushing past that nigga feeling like I'm Trey. Brand two, y'all don't take me out the same way.
Y'all heard that Chazzy 25 times 4?
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Fuck a bitch, they be trying to take you up a grade. I done had a few, God, thank you for your grace. I fall so hard for it. Cause you believe you know I got for it. You can't drive, you won't ride for it. These niggas be capping, but
On a side note, Chazzy, I just feel bad about the hard body tech.
gotta know everything about the situation. I just don't want the peace and we tired of waiting. I feel obligated to stay concentrated, cause they want to stay.
My soul been tested and tried. Up through the night, get up every time, Of course it's your favorite song, Fighting Lord. Knock down, you get up every time. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, man. Hey, if y'all don't know my girl Fighting Lord, man, that's my dog, man. Hey, that's a real warrior right there, man. I love her spirit, man. She down with that dojo life, man. She with that Lionheart system, man. You know what I mean? Definitely one of my favorite songs too, man. Straight up. He did his thing, bro. Chazzy 25 times 4. Good job, baby. You did your thing, man. Every show. Every time. Hey, we back at it, man. We got one little section left for y'all, and we're gonna wrap it up for you for today. We give you a little couple of predictions we got coming up. We got one particular topic that I've been wanting to cover all podcasts. Yeah, man. November 28th, my boy Mike Tyson is fighting my boy Roy Jones, and I'm in my feelings about it, man. Look, man, for me, I am not okay with this whole production. Damn it, these are two of the people I grew up looking up to, loving. I am so upset that these two men are fighting. That's honest. Now, with that being said, since it's happening, since you have to collide and crash two of my childhood heroes up like this, I'll be taking some predictions. Who do you got? Tyson? Or do you got Roy Jones? I don't want to make a prediction on that.
I got my prediction.
Talk to me, young Shallow.
I want Roy Jones to win, but I feel like Tyson got him. And I feel like Tyson got him because the way Tyson be built after he done training.
Why do you want Roy to win?
Because I prefer Roy in his fighting style, and honestly I like how flashy he was.
My man Gennaro got Tyson.
And also because like a lot of Roy's style was based on like reflex and speed, and then like can you replicate that?
I told y'all the little young boy know a thing or two. Okay? You already said, he said, man, a lot of Roy's style was based on reflex and speed. And you have to question whether or not those things erode over time. You know, once you get to a certain age, like, are you strong enough? Are you fast enough to do what you used to do? It's a good question, man. It's a good question.
A lot of Tyson style comes from like his whole body, ripping through shots. And honestly, that really just takes conditioning and structure to be able to do that. So long as he got the gas for it, and like he's gonna put the power together.
I believe that too. That's a tough one, man. He's saying, but I really want Roy to prove me wrong. I think that's where we're all at right now, right? Everybody's scared of Tyson. Everybody hoping for Roy right now, right? Everybody like, damn, Roy, you done bit off more than you could chew. You fucking with Tyson crazy ass and shit. But it's like at the same time, like, Roy, you was raw though. Like, you might be able to do it though. And I feel the vibes, man. Like, you know, I'm a big Roy fan, man. I love the chicken hawk, man. I loved how Roy believed in himself and his skill set to the point that it pushed him to like developing his own style and just feeling and flavor. But you can't deny the barbarian warlord, Mike Tyson, the barbarian king, the biter of ears, the destroyer of men.
It's gonna be spinal.
Spinal. Oh my mama, it's gonna be spinal. Yeah, man. So you know, for me, I definitely yeah, man. I can't, man. Anyway, moving on. Since I punked out and giving a prediction for now, Puma got
Tyson.
Gennaro's got Tyson. Fighting Laura's got Tyson. We got a huge fight on the horizon for Sacramento. One of Sacramento's own, Blake McKernan. He is a fight veteran. He is a Army veteran, as well as a veteran in the fight game now at this point. He is 14-0 or 13-0. Is he 13-0 going 14-0? I believe he's 13-0, looking to go 14-0.
He's going 13-0, going 13-1.
Ooh, big words.
Sorry, Greg, I love you, but like.
Big words. Big word. So, you know, he is taking a huge step up in competition and fighting a former titleist, Badu Jack. Badu Jack is one of Floyd Mayweather's fighters. He is, you know, he's been a veteran for quite a while. He came off a very brutal and gruesome fight with Brown. Oh, man, he had the whole, like, front of his forehead split. I mean, it had to be this long. It was it Bowman?
You can see the bone.
Oh, the bone. I was like, yeah, I thought his name was Brown. Yes, you could definitely see his skull through the cut. It was terrible. So I had questions about how his facial structure is going to hold up with that kind of scar tissue and cutting.
Anybody fight after that though?
He has, I don't know. I don't think he has had another fight since then. I think this would be his next fight since then. But I was very afraid of what would happen. But don't quote me on that. That's a good question, son.
I feel like we saw
well, let's not go at our feelings. We'll figure it out. We'll get back to you next week. We'll talk about that again. I'd like to know if Badu Jack has had a fight since then, because like, how has his cut held up, if that is the case? Yeah. If not, how is that cut gonna hold up if Blake McKernan takes his hand across it? Now, with that being said, Blake McKernan is an undefeated fighter. He hasn't yet faced a level of competition that would make somebody say he's ready for a two-time, several world champion. He fought 8 champions his last 8 fights. I don't think that anybody has given Blake this fight without knowing Blake personally. If you don't know Blake and you don't love the guy, you probably don't think he can win this fight. I would say that you better respect every opponent. Now, with that being said, yeah, he's taking a huge step up, and he knows it too. He's taking a huge step up in competition. Can he do it or not? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I know one thing. I definitely seen that man get a one-punch knockout off of a uppercut. It was a punch heard around Sacramento. So is it possible? Yes. Blake does have one-punch knockout power. He's proven it. Does he have that consistently? I wouldn't say that. Does he have the boxing acumen and or skill to compete with a Badu Jack? I see Badu Jack as being more skilled, experienced, and proficient. Does he have the will, power, to stand up against a Badu Jack? I can't question Blake's will. I can't question Blake's will because he's given us no signs to question it. I've never seen him cower in a fight. He went to the service and came back a proud veteran. And he stands up for himself in all situations, at all times. His press conference, he stood on his words like a man. He talked his shit. I can't say I see a punk in my man McKernan, man. I think that he believes to the root of him, to his very core, that he's going to shock the world. And despite all the things stacked out of his favor, I think that he thinks he's going to beat that man. So, I'll be very interested to return back to this, and we can touch this subject again next week, but I'll be very interested to return back to this because we actually will be going live the day after that fight to do a full-blown breakdown of what happened with Blake McKernan and Badu Jack because Sacramento's gonna need to know. This is one of our chances to take a little bit of that spotlight and put it right here on our city. And Blake, I'll tell you right now, man, whether or not anybody thinks you can win or not, for the city of Sacramento, we all wish you the best. If you are able to take this fight and take this shit to the next level, man, there's going to be people here that are going to get respect and appreciation that they never would have gotten if they didn't get the kind of look that they're giving Sacramento right now. So shout out to Blake McKernan for putting on for Sac a bit. And you know what? We all want you to win the fight. Whether or not he can or not, it's on you, big dog. Prove it, move it, or lose it. But we want to see it happen for the 916. Today, we are going to wrap it up for In This Corner, the podcast. And in this corner, we have Young Puma. And in this corner, we have Coach Shallow, Big Shallow. We'll be back to you next week with more details, more fun. We have more predictions, more breakdowns. And on top of that, we got that build-up for that big Tyson and Roy Jones fight. Thank you all for tuning in. We had a great time with you guys. For all of you guys that asked questions, all you guys that participated with us, we appreciate you. We expect to see you next week. We will have a live recording that'll go up on all of your streams and all of your systems. So tune in to XRadio.live, tune in to X4L Entertainment, and look for us on iTunes, BuzzFeed, you name it. Where they drop podcasts, that's where we're going to be at. All day, every day. X4L Entertainment. We got shows every day of the week. Look out for the ISM. Look out for all the rest of the shows that we have going on. The Awakening, X4L Live. My boy Boog's on the side of me right here. He's hosting all the time, keeping it lit. It's going up, and it's never going down. X4L Entertainment. You guys have a great time. Thank you for having us. Am I checking the back or is it? Am I checking the front or the back? Where my check at, nigga? It's lit in this bitch.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That shit was fun, man.
That's perfect.
My boy Mike Tyson is fighting my boy Roy Jones, and I'm in my feelings. about it, man. Look, man, for me, I am not okay with this whole production. Damn it, these are two of the people I grew up looking up to, loving. I am so upset that these two men are fighting. That's honest. Now, with that being said, since it's happening, since you have to collide and crash two of my childhood heroes up like this, I'll be taking some predictions. Who do you got? Tyson? Or do you got Roy Jones? I don't want to make a prediction on that.
I got my prediction.
Talk to me, young Shallow.
I want Roy Jones to win, but I feel like Tyson got him. And I feel like Tyson got him because the way Tyson be built after he done training.
Why do you want Roy to win?
Because I prefer Roy in his fighting style, and honestly I like how flashy he was.
My man Gennaro got Tyson.
And also because like a lot of Roy's style was based on like reflex and speed, and then like can you replicate that?
I told y'all the little young boy know a thing or two. Okay? You already said, he said, man, a lot of Roy's style was based on reflex and speed. And you have to question whether or not those things erode over time. You know, once you get to a certain age, like, are you strong enough? Are you fast enough to do what you used to do? It's a good question, man. It's a good question.
A lot of Tyson style comes from like his whole body, rip it through shots. And honestly, that really just takes conditioning and structure to be able to do that. So long as he got the gas for it, and like he's gonna put the power together.
I believe that too. That's a tough one, man. He's saying, but I really want Roy to prove me wrong. I think that's where we're all at right now, right? Everybody's scared of Tyson. Everybody hoping for Roy right now, right? Everybody like, damn, Roy, you done bit off more than you could chew. You fucking with Tyson crazy ass and shit. But it's like at the same time, like, Roy, you was raw though. Like, you might be able to do it though. And I feel the vibes, man. Like, you know, I'm a big Roy fan, man. I love the chicken hawk, man. I loved how Roy believed in himself and his skill set to the point that it pushed him to like developing his own style and just feeling and flavor. But you can't deny the barbarian warlord, Mike Tyson, the barbarian king, the biter of ears, the destroyer of men.
It's gonna be spinal.
Spinal. Oh my mama, it's gonna be spinal. Yeah, man. So you know, for me, I definitely yeah, man. I can't, man. Anyway, moving on. Since I punked out of giving a prediction, for now, Puma got
Tyson.
Gennaro's got Tyson. Fighting Laura's got Tyson. We got a huge fight on the horizon for Sacramento. One of Sacramento's own, Blake McKernan. He is a fight veteran. He is a Army veteran, as well as a veteran in the fight game now at this point. He is 14-0 or 13-0. Is he 13-0 going 14-0? I believe he's 13-0, looking to go 14-0.
He's going 13-0, going 13-1.
Ooh, big words.
Sorry, Greg, I love you, but like.
Big words. Big word. So, you know, he is taking a huge step up in competition and fighting a former titleist, Badou Jack. Badou Jack is one of Floyd Mayweather's fighters. He is, you know, he's been a veteran for quite a while. He came off a very brutal and gruesome fight with Brown. Oh, man, he had the whole, like, front of his forehead split. I mean, it had to be this long. It was it Bowman?
You can see the bone.
Oh, the bone. I was like, yeah, I thought his name was Brown. Yes, you could definitely see his skull through the cut. It was terrible. So I had questions about how his facial structure is going to hold up with that kind of scar tissue and cutting.
Did Badou fight after that though?
He has, I don't know. I don't think he has had another fight since then. I think this would be his next fight since then. but I was very afraid of what would happen. But don't quote me on that. That's a good question, son.
I feel like we saw it.
Well, let's not go at our feelings. We'll figure it out. We'll get back to you next week. We'll talk again about that again. I'd like to know if Badou Jack has had a fight since then, because like, how has his cut held up, if that is the case? Yeah. If not, how is that cut gonna hold up if Blake McKernan takes his hand across it? Now, with that being said, Blake McKernan is an undefeated fighter. He hasn't yet faced a level of competition that would make somebody say he's ready for a two-time, several world champion. He fought 8 champions his last 8 fights. I don't think that anybody has given Blake this fight without knowing Blake personally. If you don't know Blake and you don't love the guy, you probably don't think he can win this fight. I would say that you better respect every opponent. Now, with that being said, yeah, he's taking a huge step up, and he knows it too. He's taking a huge step up in competition. Can he do it or not? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I know one thing. I definitely seen that man get a one-punch knockout off of a uppercut. It was a punch heard around Sacramento. So is it possible? Yes. Blake does have one-punch knockout power. He's proven it. Does he have that consistently? I wouldn't say that. Does he have the boxing acumen and or skill to compete with a Badou Jack? I see Badou Jack as being more skilled, experienced, and proficient. Does he have the will, power to stand up against a Badou Jack? I can't question Blake's will. I can't question Blake's will because he's given us no signs to question it. I've never seen him cower in a fight. He went to the service and came back a proud veteran. And he stands up for himself in all situations, at all times. His press conference, he stood on his words like a man. He talked his shit. I can't say I see a punk in my man McKernan, man. I think that he believes to the root of him, to his very core, that he's going to shock the world. And despite all the things stacked out of his favor, I think that he thinks he's going to beat that man. So, I'll be very interested to return back to this, and we can touch this subject again next week, but I'll be very interested to return back to this because we actually will be going live the day after that fight to do a full-blown breakdown of what happened with Blake McKernan and Badou Jack, because Sacramento's gonna need to know. This is one of our chances to take a little bit of that spotlight and put it right here on our city. And Blake, I'll tell you right now, man, whether or not anybody thinks you can win or not, for the city of Sacramento, we all wish you the best. If you are able to take this fight and take this shit to the next level, man, there's going to be people here that are going to get respect and appreciation that they never would have gotten if they didn't get the kind of look that they're giving Sacramento right now. So shout out to Blake McKernan for putting on for Sac a bit. And you know what? We all want you to win the fight. Whether or not he can or not, it's on you, big dog. Prove it, move it, or lose it. But we want to see it happen for the 916. Today, we are going to wrap it up for In This Corner, the podcast. And in this corner, we have Young Puma. And in this corner, we have Coach Shallow, Big Shallow. We'll be back to you next week with more details, more fun. We have more predictions, more breakdowns. And on top of that, we got that build-up for that big Tyson and Roy Jones fight. Thank you all for tuning in. We had a great time with you guys. For all of you guys that asked questions, all you guys that participated with us, we appreciate you. We expect to see you next week. We will have a live recording that'll go up on all of your streams and all of your systems. So tune in to XRadio.live, tune in to X4L Entertainment, and look for us on iTunes, BuzzFeed, you name it. Where they drop podcasts, that's where we're going to be at. All day, every day. X4L Entertainment. We got shows every day of the week. Look out for the ISM. Look out for all the rest of the shows that we have going on. The Awakening, X4L Live. My boy Boog's on the side of me right here. He's hosting all the time, keeping it lit. It's going up, and it's never going down. X4L Entertainment. You guys have a great time. Thank you for having us.